All right, a little 0 to 60. 60. Nobody cares about 0 to 60 times in this 2023 Corolla LE. What you really care about is the fact that this is the cheapest way to buy into the Toyota lineup. This is the cheapest Toyota you can buy. This 2023 Corolla LE trim with no options comes in at around $23,000 with destination. And we really do, yes, I do wish this were a GR Corolla, but it's not. These $20,000 sedans are important. We need these in this age of high prices. Now, if you value your finances more than driving, this is the car you want to get. This is a no-brainer when it comes to financial sense. But the important thing here today is for 2023, Toyota has upgraded the tech. They have their Safety Suite 3.0, which adds some goodies in there, and they've also updated their infotainment. So we're going to take this out on the highway, out on the road for a drive, hopping in the back seat for a compact. This does pretty good. It's pretty competitive. It's nothing like a Civic. It's even nothing like something like a Sentra or Elantra. You got Toyota's base fabric seats, pretty good. They do give you a center armrest in this base trim. No seat pockets back here, but you do get 2 USB-Cs. All in all, pretty comfy, and they do have all LED lighting as far as the interior dome lighting here. Just shut the door there. Pretty solid Toyota solid sound. There's no releases in the trunk. You just kind of reach in and pull down that button. And you have a 60-40 split. That one will go down too. It's not flat at all. It does raise up right there. And if I look in the trunk, there's no button back here. You either have to use the key fob, but you know, class competitive trunk space. Again, as you can see, when you put those seats down, they do not go down flat. If you hop over here into the passenger seats, no adjustments, only fore and aft. Talk a little bit about this interior while we're here. Now, if you took a picture of this interior and you showed it to somebody 10 years ago, they go, wow, that's really, really modern. And this is how a modern interior should look. It's pretty simple. The only thing I've ever had with Toyota's new Corolla interior is how this juts out at you. It feels a little bit claustrophobic. You got a really, really deep space on the dash to the glass. So, you know, it's not as spacious feeling as I think it actually is by the numbers, but overall it's pretty modern feeling. Everything in the front touches really nice, high quality. You know, even over here it's hard plastic, but the dash is nice and soft. Now we do get 16-inch wheels. Again, it's all about economy. They're going to be fairly reasonably priced to replace, which is one of the great things about the Corolla. You do get LED lighting all around, taillights and the headlights, and no keyless anything here or smart key. You do get a regular key, and you do get locking and unlocking on the fob. Your trunk release, fuel door release are down there. You do get all four windows are auto up and down. And if I start this up, I stick the key in there, you get the grumbling, of course, sound of Toyota's 4 cylinders, just not the smoothest in the world. Nice sturdy shifter. I like that. It falls nice to hand. You do get a brake hold assist when you're in traffic. That's kind of nice. And you do get an electronic parking brake right here. They fall nice to hand. Don't take up a lot of real estate. Turn traction control off there. These LEs don't have any kind of manual shift modes, no sport modes, no econ modes. You do just get a low setting for your CVT transmission. Get a little bit of storage in this pocket here, but more importantly, you get another USB-C right there, and you get a 12-volt in there also. And you get this USB-C here for your main connection. Now, when I talked about the tech upgrades, one of the nice upgrades is that this is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's hooked up okay. I've had the fuss with Apple CarPlay this week, but it seems like it's more I've used it, the more it instantly recognizes the phone. There's no wireless charging in here, so if you're going to use the wireless CarPlay, you know, you may want to make sure. I think you can add on a wireless charger. I'm not sure. You do have auto climate, which is very, very nice. Very simple buttons to control all that. That's the only buttons you get. Everything else you have to go in, like radio controls, you got to go into the system up here. Now we do have the latest version of Toyota's infotainment system. It is a major upgrade over what they used to have. The home screen is a little funny because if you just charge this thing up, the home screen is a navigation option. You can subscribe. The other thing is this car is connected, so you can get an app, you can subscribe to the app, you can subscribe to a navigation system. But if you hit CarPlay, it comes up, it scrolls, it's really, really fast. If you want to go back to the main menus, you got to go back to the Toyota app, and then you get all of these. So in general, it's way more responsive than it used to be. This doesn't feel plasticky. This feels pretty good quality. Just this one volume knob. Now, the one interesting thing that they've added with this tech package is if you were using Apple Maps, you will get turn-by-turn directions in this little tiny screen down here. And then we get out on the highway, I'll talk a little bit about the adaptive cruise and some other things that they've added as part of the safety suite. As far as there's no adjustments on your intermittent wipers, you have a host of blank buttons. These are probably for the XSC. These will start filling out more, but you do have automatic high beams if you want to enable those. And all in all, it's pretty simple stuff. All the buttons feel nice and good quality when you press it. The up and down, all this up and down feels really good quality. I think they've stepped up their game as far as how these all feel. Again, up above, you do just have the LED. There's no vanity lights over here. So what we have here is a 2-liter. It's a little bit smaller than what you see in a Camry, and it has direct injection and port injection. So again, Toyota's all about making sure that this thing lasts forever. 0W16 oil, and I think this is making 169 horsepower, so decent numbers. It's just the torque number is not great, about 153 pound-feet of torque. Anyway, let's get this engine and CVT combo out for a drive. Our old-fashioned key here. Very pleasant chimes. Throw it in reverse here. No steerable grid lines, but nice big quality backup camera. Now, as you would expect from a Corolla, they drive perfectly pleasant. And for the target audience that this car is going after at this price point with this trim level, it drives like that crowd would want. Very predictable, very easygoing. Pretty quiet, pleasant blinkers there. Yeah, you know, when it comes to this CVT, I just think there's better out there. I think almost all the other brands do the CVT a little better than what Toyota is doing now. Now, this specific lower trim model, you just got the regular old CVT first gear. Now, as far as ride comfort, pretty unremarkable, either good or bad. It's actually pretty comfortable over most bumps. Everything's pretty quiet. The rear torsion beam is pretty not noticeable. You'll get a little bit of wheel hop over some rough pavement, but again, everything is as you would expect. All right, let's take it down one of our favorite roads here. So good power. This is one of the things, you know, 169 horsepower with a car like this. I've never been wanting, or I've never felt that this car is sluggish. The one thing that I would say is sluggish, and here's some steering. The one thing that I would say is sluggish is the CVT. It's pretty slow to downshift when you really, really want it to. But overall power is just fine in this car. Handling is exactly what you'd expect. Pretty predictable. Toyota has done a very good job on a lot of their models of just making the most neutral, accurate steering, and it's also present in this Corolla. It's extremely lifeless and very light, very comfortable steering, whether you're parking a car or driving on a road like this. Very, very light steering, but it's accurate. You never feel like you're making a lot of adjustments on the steering as you go in and out of turn. So that's a good thumbs up. Not going to do a power stop on this. I will tell you that the brake pedal is one of the most unfeeling pedals out there. You really don't know you're on the brake pedal except by the slowing down of the car. It is so light of a pedal. It's not mushy. It's very linear. It's very direct, but it takes almost no effort. You can just lay your foot on that pedal and it'll start hitting the brake. So very light pedal. Now the one safety thing I will describe as we drive out here on this road is something called proactive driver assist. That's kind of new in Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. It's PDA, and they actually default it off. I have it on right now, and this is kind of like a motherhood system where it'll detect whether you're using radar control when you're going in a turn, depending on the speed limit and the speed, depending on how close you are to another car. It'll actually nudge the brakes a little bit. It'll actually torque on the steering wheel a little bit. It's really a system that's kind of bizarre. I just don't know if I would let a new driver rely on something like that, because it will actively hit the brakes if it feels like you're following too close. I have it enabled right now. The other safety thing I'll point out that kind of goes hand in hand with that is you do have stop sign and speed limit sign. You do have stop sign and speed limit sign up here in this camera system, and it'll display them down. Like right there, it hit the brakes a little bit, even though I didn't want them to. Anyway, that's the one interesting thing that Toyota is rolling out, is that system PDA. I'm actually going to flip through the menus here and turn it off. We'll go ahead and go over our railroad tracks here. So that's the other thing that bears mentioning when you're in a Corolla. It's just, you just feel that it's built extremely well. No rattles. Not that you would expect any rattles in a brand new car, and most cars don't rattle or squeak. This just exudes Toyota quality. If you've lived with Toyotas, or you know what I'm talking about. And this just really has that quality feeling, despite the fact that it's not much fun to drive. Now, I should mention this does not have blind spot monitoring or rear cross traffic alert, and I would say that's fine. That comes in that upgrade package. You don't need it because visibility all around is pretty good. You have these quarter or triangular windows here, give you a good view out the front, back. So, you know, be old school. Look over your shoulder. Okay, getting this out on the highway. Wow, that's loud, but it moves it along pretty good up the highway speed. Now, not going to do a big segment here on the highway. We do have a full highway performance fuel mileage video out there, so if it's not out there yet, keep an eye out there for it, but it should be coming out about the same time as this video is. So out here on the highway, cruise is just fine. There's plenty of power for, you know, a compact car. Now, over the week, as fuel mileage go, I'll put all the other competition up there. I've been averaging 35 in sort of mixed driving, and so no complaints there. A couple things to note out here on the highway regarding some of the equipment. You do have radar cruise control that you can select whether it's adaptive or just regular with this mode button here. The other thing is worth mentioning is that there's a pretty good lane feature. You enable that if you're under radar cruise control, and it'll track along right in the center of the lane pretty good to, you know, let you take a drink of water, but it's not meant to, you know, for long term keeping your hands off the wheel or anything. So good adaptive cruise. Decently noise in here is okay. It's nothing to write home about. But nothing specifically stands out as loud. Typical compact car noise levels. I would not put it at the top of the class by no means. So, but it does cruise pretty good, less than 2,000 RPM at 72 miles per hour. Now, the other thing that is worth mentioning out here on the highway is the stereo that's in this base Corolla is actually pretty good. You're not going to complain about it given the price point. It's loud. It's got a decent level of quality. So, you know, again, I'm not going to complain about it. I think it's definitely, for this price class, I've enjoyed listening to the stereo this week. How does this Corolla stack up to the competition? Well, I hate to say it, guys, but almost everything out there in the class, I think, drives better. I don't think this is a very good CVT compared to the competition. However, I have no problem recommending this car to a lot of folks. I know this car will be perfect for. This is bulletproof. You're going to get 300, 400,000 miles out of this if you want that kind of longevity out of it. You can even neglect it a little bit and it's going to last you forever. And given the price, 10, 15 years, this is cheap transportation over that time period. There are some other cars out there, like the Sentra with its new CVT actually drives better. The Kia, the Fortes, the Souls, they all drive better than this. I think their IVTs work a little bit better. If I were recommending something, I would try to dig in your sofa for some pennies, grab a couple more $1,000, and maybe try to get something like the Mazda 3, even in the base trim, or the Select. You're just going to enjoy driving that so much better. Even the Honda Civic is another one I would suggest trying to stretch for. And there's even the Volkswagen Jetta out there. It's got the really torquey 1.5 and it gets stellar fuel mileage. Also, I think those are all going to be a lot more fun to drive than this Corolla. Anyway, there you go, guys. Please leave your questions and comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We'd really appreciate that. And as always, have a great day, morning or evening, wherever you may be.